So let's try that one more time. We are let's share. I'll share my entire screen. Oh, there we go. Okay, we get all right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into this since I am running a little behind. I don't want to take any more time. Let's go ahead and get into it because we actually have a really good episode to discuss. So, a little bit about me. I'm Honest Am. I am the creator of your showrunner, Lisa newsletter as well as Honestly Sister podcast. If you want to support me, the best way to support me is to like, comment, or subscribe to this video. Or if you really, really fuck with me, find me at www.honestlysis.com. You guys already know about the mentors. Let's go ahead and get into this week challenge. This week challenge was called The Menu. It was actually really, really cute how we started this episode. We started this episode with some three new aprons was sitting out as the contestants was coming out of the elevator, which makes me wonder a little bit about their sleeping arrangements. Are they like staying in a hotel? Is there like a dorm type situation going on? How long is this competition for real? Do they actually hang out outside of the competition, or is it just like a they're only around each other during working hours? But anyways, as they come off the elevator, we have these three new aprons sitting here, and the chefs say that they have a 5 course menu that they have to make within 30 minutes. And they said since they have 5 courses, going to need three new teammates, and they open the elevator doors to reveal the new teammates, only for us to learn that the new teammates are the judges. So this is the first time that Next Level Chef has ever done this, where they actually had the judges participating in the competition, and it really makes me remember and think about how you know things going wrong or things not going to plan can really get you to come up with new concepts. I'm pretty sure that Next Level Chef producers and showrunners, they didn't expect to lose Meg the way that they lost Meg. And so they're trying to keep the competition going, keep it an even playing field. And I bet you they just kind of created this challenge where they allowed the chefs, the mentors to come on to help round out the menu. And so it's not so each team is not at such a disadvantage. And I just really love this. So they have a 5 course menu that they have to make within 30 minutes. For this 5 course menu, they have to have a shellfish dish, they have to have a poultry dish. Um, Here it is: a shellfish dish, a poultry dish, a meat dish, a fish dish, and they ended it with a dessert. And what was really, really nice is that instead of the contestants having to worry about who is going to do the desserts, the mentors decided to do it for them. Let's get into the grab. Now, for the grab, I really love this because now we get to really understand how these teams are working together. So when we go down into the basement right away, Austin is saying, "Hey, we need to think about what our theme is going to be. What we want to come up with for our menu." Brandon says, "No, I think we should just wait and see what is on the platform." Then we go up to level two. Right away, they're having some discussions about what type of cuisines they're strong in. Iman says that she's really strong in Middle Eastern flavors, where Becca says that she's really strong in Latin flavors. And we know, um, of course, we know that Natalie is strong in Mexican flavors. And so they basically all decide, okay, we're going to do so they basically all decide that we're going to do this Mexican inspired menu. But I did notice that as they were talking, Bobby didn't say anything, which is already a red flag. And so then we go to the top level kitchen, and right away, Ryan is saying, because he is from Boston, he's used to being by this dealing with seafood. He's going to go ahead and take over both of the seafood courses. Beatrice will take over the poultry dish, and Arnav is going to take over the meat dish. When we start getting, so by the time that the mentors actually get down there, most of the teams have everything in place except for the basement level. And because the basement level didn't have it together, Chef Blaze just came down there and basically just got them all on the same page. Was like, all right, we're just gonna be a basement bistro, and that's how we're gonna go about it. And so as we're doing this draw, I do feel like the platform was a little bit slower this time around, but you can hear that they're talking to each other. Beatrice was really excited that she got the game hen that she wanted, and she got some caviar. Uh, 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 Ryan was really excited about those scallions, and then he ended up getting a really nice salmon. Gordon was asking, what meat are we gonna do, and then Arnab grabbed this beautiful ribeye. Then we go down into the middle kitchen. They're just trying to get all of the Mexican flavors that they can possibly get. I know that Becca said that she was just grabbing cilantro, like anything that will create these beautiful Mexican flavors. And then in the basement, we have we have them again, trying to communicate, trying to say what type of dish they got. And it was so funny because Chef Blaze, he actually, as the platform was going back up, he actually jumped on the platform to grab some chestnuts. And it was just so funny because the contestants was like, Chef Blaze is not a very tall man, and just to see him reaching and going for it, it was just really excited. Like, you could really, one thing that Beatrice mentioned is that, them being able to cook with the mentors really showed a different side of the chefs, and you could just see it in the energy that they had. Blaze was just, I mean, he's chopping fast as hell, and Naisha, she's just smiling and just, full of energy. Gordon, he's talking shit and like, whose idea was this? But you could definitely see this different side of the chefs. And so instead of the chefs having to do the grab with the team, they actually give the mentors their own little platform grab, which again, I felt like, they gave them just a little bit more time. But it was really fun to just see how Gordon was like, looking at the platform and trying to conceptualize his dish as he was making his pick. And he's just like, no matter what, the chefs are all like, oh my God, like this is actually really hard. And I thought that it was really, really a good idea to let the mentors to actually feel the pressure of getting a grab, because I think it was Becca was saying how they're always like grab, 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 and they're like, oh yeah, it's not so easy to grab. But it was just so exciting to see the mentors really, really getting into this competition, really seeing what these contestants have to deal with week to week. And then when we get down into the basement, Blaze is trying to talk out what type of dish he's going to use. And as the platform is going up, he's do one more leap. But I just knew that it was going to pass, but it didn't. He just kept going, and he just kept going with the flow. Austin was so funny because when Blaze did come down and said, no, I think we need to come up with a theme, Austin was like, I don't want to be a kiss ass, but I want it to be like, that was my idea, which is fair. I don't understand why Brandon was like, let's just wait for the platform. Like, you really have to be thinking forward for that. Yeah. So let's go ahead. Let's get into these dishes. That was pretty much the grab. Everybody pretty much got everything that they wanted to get. Natalie was really, really excited about this opportunity of them being able to work together, and she actually asked Becca to help her with her dough, which I was just like, oh, like I'm like, come on, Becca. I mean, come on, Natalie. You already know that Becca has this time management issue, and so to ask her to make your dough, it was just kind of, I don't. I mean, I get it, but also she was the only one that kind of did it. I wish that if she was going to take over, she did get the corn for Becca, but if she was going to ask Natalie, I mean, she was going to ask Becca to do her dough for her, then I wish that she would have said, "Oh, well, I'll chop up your vegetable." Like it would have been a trade off so that Becca wouldn't have been scrapped for time as we were going along, because after she spent all that time on the dough, Becca barely had time to really deal with her dish. She had this salmon, and I mean, yeah, this red snapper, and we end up finding out that she wasn't able to cook it properly. And I really think it's because she spent all that time on Natalie Doe. Now, everybody was communicating really, really well. I really loved how the top kitchen was going. Like, they were just, Beatrice, I think Beatrice is really feeling herself, and maybe she just feel comfortable around the boys, but she's really kind of taking on this like team, even though Ryan definitely, I felt like this was Ryan competition to win. And I wish he would have been able to actually have that top dish, but since it was a team challenge and not an individual challenge, he didn't get that recognition this time around. But you can really tell that Beatrice is stepping up. She's conversating with all of the teammates, making sure that everybody is all flowing well, even talking to Gordon, Gordon, telling him to pick up the pace. As we get to the middle kitchen, everybody is really communicating except for Bobby. Bobby is just kind of in his zone. He's not really dealing with the rest of the team. And we realize as we start getting to the platform coming down, he is baking some beignets and like it's like he is not on the same wavelength as the team. And I was actually just I was very disappointed in Bobby. I didn't think that he would do something like that. Bobby really, he said that the pin was like him being a team captain. And in this instance, I really felt like Bobby let the team down. But Naisha was just, she was having fun and she was explaining to her team, like, okay, I'm going to set the mode, but I'm not going to bake it until, 10 minutes in. And just, she let them taste the food that she was doing. And I also believe that Naisha is a dessert chef by trade. So don't hold me to that. Comment down below if you know that for sure. But I do believe I want to say I read something last year and they said that she's a dessert chef. So this was really right up her alley. And then again, Blaze is just having so much fun and chopping up things really fast and just coming up with with the banana. And remember, Richard Blaze, he is from the competition circuit. He did Top Chef. So this is really him falling back in his element, and you can tell that he was just enjoying it. It was just such a fun episode. It was so funny because towards the end of their cook, Megan was throwing out butter. They were all laughing and joking, and then Richard was like, "Okay, look, it's all fun and games until somebody get eliminated." So he basically told them like, "Okay, y'all having a little bit too much fun." So let's get into these dishes. I mean, I think I did a really good job this week. Producers, if you are watching these videos, I would personally love to get a beautiful shot of these, of each level. I mean, you guys did so good this episode on making sure that we were able to see the platforms go, the dishes, the team dishes on the platform for each round. And then before we even got to the judges, you guys did really good on making sure we got a really good visual shot of the whole team menu. And I understand that they did this because the whole purpose of this episode was the menu. But I would just really love if they would just keep doing that for my sake for the rest of the season, because we just are able to really clearly see each dishes. And so we're going to start with the top level kitchen. And the top level kitchen, uh their their uh their restaurant inspiration is all about uh what is this? European I don't know what this. I hate when this happens where I can't even read my own handwriting. They were doing Middle European fine dining. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be. As you can see, like just looking at this right before we even get into what each of these dishes are, this looks like a menu that I would want to eat. I mean, Beatrice dish just looks so fucking pretty. I mean, actually, everything on here looks beautiful. Like, there is no one dish that I'm like, oh, they could have did better or they were slacking. That Team Ramsey really killed it. And so, diving into this menu of this Middle European fine dining, we have Ryan starting us off with some scallop caviar on a beurre blanc sauce. Now, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm probably gonna fuck up these words. Okay, so please do not, I get it. Last week, my sis that told me that I said wrong. My bad. Like I'm gonna get it wrong. So please don't judge me too harshly. I'm getting comfortable with these words. And so Ryan started off with that beautiful scallops and caviar, which I mean, come on. Scallops and caviar sounds like an amazing dish. Naisha said that it was really off to a strong start. I will admit, I don't know if I really like scallions like that. I went to Hill's Kitchen and I had scallions for maybe like the second time. And I think I don't like the texture, and I don't know if maybe they weren't cooked properly, but I really don't know if I'm a fan of scallions. Scallops. Scallions are the onion scallops are the seafood. Next up, we have Ryan with this pan seared salmon that's kind of right here, and these two dishes were next to each other with some roasted fennel. I mean, it just looks very, very pretty with some beautiful sauces underneath there. Then we have Beatrice's beautiful guinea hen, which was on a beurre blanc sauce as well. It was beautifully stacked with truffles and this it's like truffles and this cream and herby sauce with this chick. I mean, I would love to eat this dish. Ryan, when they were debating, Ryan said that he would pay $500 for that dish, and I would as well. It was just really a visually stunning dish. And it was funny because Richard said that this didn't really meet his expectations, and Beatrice's face was like, "What?" And he's like, "It exceeded his expectations." I, I don't want to pick on Beatrice just because we just got to keep watching the competition. Like but I do feel like she is feeling herself a little too strongly. And the thing about this competition is that this competition is not all about talent. It really is about confidence. And if Beatrice keep getting more and more confident, she's gonna fuck around and win this competition. Like because she's just I think when you're comfortable, you're gonna take more risks. You're going to feel more confident in the meals that you're presenting. And when you're feeling confident in the meals that you're presenting, is going to eat well. And like, that's why I feel like Becca is like struggling so well because she's losing her confidence. She's helping other people out, which I kind of feel like that's a youth thing. She has bad time management. So her confidence is just shaking, and I feel like her dishes are starting to just go down, down, down. But we'll talk about Becca when we get there. Next, we have Arnav with this beautiful roasted red rib eye. Looks like he has some roasted carrots on there. Again, another visually beautiful plating. And then Gordon Ramsay went ahead and finished this off with a fig. Uh, tartan, I believe that's how you pronounce it, which is basically roasted fig. And he had this beautiful rum toffee sauce that you got to pour on top. I'm so curious of what this little souffle kind of like what is this thing over here, because I feel like they didn't speak about that so much. They did talk about the roasted figs. I want to say that's a vanilla bean with that rum toffee sauce, but I'm so curious, what did he have to accompany it with it? And I did watch this episode like 3 times, so I'm not sure how I missed that. But again, top level killed it. Next, let's go to our middle level. Our middle level is all about Mexican inspiration. And so we started off this menu with Bobby doing a uh, red shrimp, a tiny. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, but he did red shrimp beignet, which is right here in this lower corner. That's our supposed to be our appetizer dish. Becca gave us a pan roasted snapper, which had beautiful flavors. Gordon really loved that corn, but her fish was undercooked. Natalie had the chicken empanada. Gordon talked about how delicious the pastry was, how beautiful her filling was. It was just overall a really delicious dish. But the standout here was Iman and her filet beef, which I think that I really feel like Iman's strong suit is with beef and those steak dishes. Like I wonder if she did a lot of that in her fine dining background. But if you look at it, it's just a beautiful dish. She has some chipotle butter on top of there. And they said it was just seasoned beautifully and it looks beautifully, but that ended up being the standout dish on this floor. And then we ended it with Naisa chocolate lava cake, which Richard said that he didn't understand how she could make a dish that was both, what do you say, sweet and sophisticated like her. He's like, how you made a dish that was sweet and sophisticated like yourself, and she was like, yes, keep giving me all of those compliments. They really, they really killed it, but right away before they even got into the menu of the middle level, Bobby really threw it off because Gordon Ramsay said that po' boy is really southern Latin flavors and not Mexican flavors. So Bobby fucked the team over. Next up is this bottom level. The bottom level kitchen did a really, really good job. They had a downtown bistro. One thing I really loved about this basement level is that Blaze didn't just, name them the downtown bistro. He actually had a story with it. He's especially explaining like they put all their money into the building, into buying the restaurant and having the food. And so they just, they have to scrap some things together for the opening night, and they just want to make their family members proud. And so we started off with Megan and her oysters Rockefeller, which is right here. This beautiful dish. Aisha said it had a really good texture to it. I personally love oysters Rockefeller. I had some for the first time last year when I was in New York, and I was obsessed. Austin and his beautiful Soleil Citrus Beurre Blanc, which is the next dish feature right here. Right here, it was a very pretty dish. Soul is also Soul here in Detroit sometimes can be used for catfish. Those switch each other out. So it was really nice to see him elevate this fish to such a beautiful level. Next, we had Jeff and his seared duck with a miso sauce. And they said that the duck was cooked beautifully, but the miso sauce was just a little bit too sweet and fatty, and it kind of gave this weird texture or weird flavor for the judges. Next, we have Brandon and his steak au bois, which is basically like steak and mushrooms. And he said that the steak was cooked beautifully, but it tastes like canned soup. And it was funny because Gordon hated it, but Richard actually loved it. He said because it gives it this beautiful umami flavor. So he said it's nothing different between, soy sauce or canned soup. And then we end this beautiful, beautiful dish with a banana bonafide, which is basically caramelized bananas and caramel sauce. The reason why I do like getting the name of some of these dishes because you can sometimes see, like these certain names on a menu, and you'll be like, "What the hell is that?" But now that we're watching the show and we can identify it, if I see banana bonafide, if I'm saying that bonafide, if I'm saying that right, then I'm like, oh, that's caramelized bananas, and I would know to get it. But it looks like a cute little dish. And Gordon said the cutest thing. He said it's silly, it's serious, and it has those little crispy bits that reminds him of his hair. And it was just so cute to just see the judges just playing and laughing with each other. Naisha said, on Naisha when she was eating Gordon dish, she said that this chef has this chef has a bright future ahead of him. So it's just all really playing into the challenge. And so this is just explaining everything I just said. All right, next up, let's get into this judges debate. It was basically we got down to it as soon as we got into the judges debate. We get some good snaps from the team. Beatrice still feeling herself. She says the words are sophisticated, humble, and confident. That's what she said her team is all about. She said that's what her team is all about. Becca is really, sad and really panicky because she said that she was the only one that had an undercooked protein. And then we just basically get into this debate, and it ends up being the Young Guns versus the Basement. And they said that the basement dishes was the most cohesive, regardless of that canned soup. On the middle level, they talked about Bobby and his baguette and how it was just totally not on point. And they talked about how Becca and her red snapper fish, how it was just, time just got away from her, and it wasn't a really good dish at all. I mean, it wasn't the type of fish that she can get away with having it raw. Um, what else? A couple of things that I will say. Oh no, just get into the competition. Um, yeah, but yeah. So that was just pretty much. That was pretty much it. They were saying that the basement had the most cohesive dish. Middle level had a lot of flaws, and in the end, it ended up being most cohesive versus most delicious. And so, the way that the judges decided who will win in the end is what menu would they want to go back and visit again, and the winner ended up being Team Ramsey, which I personally felt like, this week it wasn't. I didn't believe in their win last week, but this week they definitely won it hand over, hand over fist. They should have took it away, and the other teams are pissed, especially Megan. Which have y'all noticed that Megan is the only girl on Team Richard, and then we got the only girl Beatrice. So all the girls are basically on Aisha team. But Team Gordon, they won, and I actually honestly truly believe that they deserve to win this week. So I wasn't too mad. So that means for the elimination, it comes down to Team Naisha Arrington versus Team Blaze, and it ends up being a cooking with wine challenge. And so Naisha Arrington has Bobby go in because Bobby he did not stay. Well, her whole debate was, do I go with somebody who had a undercooked dish but wonderful flavors, or do I go with somebody who didn't do the theme at all? And so she ended up going with somebody who didn't do the theme at all, and she ended up calling Bobby to the carpet. Uh, Richard ended up bringing Richard ended up bringing Jeff to the carpet. Which, do we feel like Jeff should have went down? Yeah, because he was the only one. He literally was the only one who did not have a good dish on that level. And so and it's so funny that it's the two chefs whose name I always mess up. I used to call Jeff Bobby and Bobby I had them all mixed up. But Bobby basically he has the immunity pin. And so we have to ask, okay, Bobby, you are the one who's going in the elimination challenge. Are you going to go in, or is Becca or another team member going to go in for you? And he said that, he wanted to cook on Mary. He believes that the immunity badge will only get you so far. And I believe that because just like Chef Naisha said, this competition is all about confidence and about you feeling better and strong, about you feeling confident and secure in the kitchen. And I do feel as you go into those elimination challenges and you do well, it does, it helps you be able to go further. And that's what I was supposed to do. I wanted to look and see who went in elimination for Jeff last time, because remember Jeff was supposed to go into the elimination challenge, I wanna say the 2nd round, and somebody else went in his place. I wanna say Austin went in his place, or maybe it was Mary. I can't remember. You know what? Matter of fact, let's do this really, really quickly. It wasn't Show Me Your Ramen. Was it Chow Now? Wait, the Chowdown was the very first one. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was the first elimination. I really do think it was the first eliminate. Or no, 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 it was the grill. It was the grill. Yeah, it was the grill because Austin went down, and Austin went to the first one. So it was the grill. Jeff decided. Uh, Let me see. Who did it end up being? I'm sorry, y'all. Mhm. Oh, this is gonna drive me crazy. Cause who went in his place? Oh yeah, you know what? Okay, so that makes sense. So Jeff went in and Brandon ended up going in his place, which actually ended up helping him because Brandon didn't go home. It was the grill challenge. But I do feel like if Jeff would have just went down there, he probably would have he probably would have more confidence and be able to cook better in a competition. And so we end up seeing that, Bobby says that he want to cook on merit, and Chef Ramsay said this could either be heroic or chaotic. um Becca is feeling like a failure because she know that this is like literally the 3rd week in a row. And you notice like her being saved is not making her feel more confident. And that's why sometimes it's like you just need to go into the elimination challenge to see if you have what it takes, because her dishes just keep going more and more down. And so Becca is feeling like the weak link of the group. And I just really hope that she can have some type of come to Jesus moment, and like next week she just knock it out the park. If she don't knock it out the park, I need her to be in elimination because I don't understand at this point why Naisha is saving her at this point. It's like, girl, do you personally know her? Like, why are you keeping her in this competition? Why are you protecting her like this? But either way it goes, we go down to this elimination challenge. It's all about cooking with wine. Cooking with wine. Bobby versus Jeff. Bobby basically fights for this halibut dish. He goes all the way up, knocks Jeff down, and but he ends up getting this halibut. And it was so funny because Gordon was like, "So what did you grab other than Jeff?" And the reason why he wanted to get this halibut so much is because he's going to make this in a patopa. I'm not even going to try it. Inline paper is what it means, and he's going to cook this fish in parchment paper. And so you have your fish and you put it with a whole bunch of herbs, you season it really well, drench it in the white wine, and then you'll bake it. And then the way that it's traditionally served is that he will have that parchment paper. You will open it up and steamy it, really beautiful dish. Whereas Jeff focused on a lamb rack and he used port wine, and the port wine ended up being just a little bit too sweet. And so in the end, what ended up happening ended up being a little bit too sweet. Lounge conversation. In the lounge, Beatrice was saying how this is going to be actually a really, really good battle because they are both two strong social media chefs. Bobby said that, he respects Jeff and he doesn't want to send a team member home, but he's going to do what he has to do. He has to step it up and prove himself to his team. Jeff is saying that it's a mentorship, it's all this money on the line. He's going to step it up. When um when Ryan hears what Bobby is going to do for his dish, he says, "Oh yeah, 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 I've made this before. It's going to be a really good dish." And so when it comes down to it, we know that it's really all about the wine. And that's the thing about these elimination challenges, that you have to listen to what they're saying. Cooking with wine. And so the key point of whatever you make, it has to be very wine focused. And so what ended up happening is that because Bobby and the thing is, Bobby cooked it in a parchment paper, but the fish wasn't done all the way, and so he had to poach it really quickly and then put it on the dish. And he was really sad that he wasn't able to serve it in the paper. Of course, Richard talked about that, but it was beautiful. You could taste the wine in the dish, and that's why he ended up winning in the end. Before, I didn't mention this, but before they even went down to the elimination challenge, Brandon turned to Bobby and was like, he's like, "I have so much respect for you right now. Like, I just got chills." And Naisha said, like, "This is why I love Bobby, because it's all about integrity." And I agree. Like, the thing, if Bobby had a good dish and Naisha sent him in there, okay, and he wanted to use his pen, fine. But Bobby fucked up. You can't be the team captain, say that you're with the team, you love the team, we're grooving so well, and then we have a team challenge, and the first thing you do is veer left. You can't do that if you're going to be the team captain. But thank God he bought that win home for Team Arrington. All right, so final thoughts. Life advice. Our life advice, I really, really love this week. We got our life advice from. Mm, oh, okay. We actually got two. Our life advice actually definitely came from Richard Blaze this season. Naisha, what's going on? Richard is stealing his steam. But okay, so our life advice came from Richard. We got two things from him. First thing that I really, really loved. I mean, first, actually, three things. The first thing that I loved is that, again, Richard did not just, come in the basement, come up with a theme. He came up with a story. And that just goes to show you as consumers, what we are buying into 9 times out of 10 is not a product, but it really is a story. Why all of a sudden are we all so focused on black businesses? Why do we want to support black businesses? Because for one, there's not that many of them. And because we want to really be, at least for me, I want to be really intentional about putting money back into my community. I want to be really intentional about, if there's a woman owned anything, I want to put that money back into our community and to people who look like me, because as we see, these billionaires don't give a fuck about us, and so why keep giving into the corporations? And so I just love, I love that that reminder that when we are out here trying to sell a product or even trying to sell ourselves, it's not about selling ourselves, but really about selling a story. And if we can get people to buy into our story, then we can get people to buy into our vision. And that's what happened to me. I know they may have not made the best dishes, but they did have the best story. And I was rooting for them, but the young guns end up taking it away. The second thing that we learned from Richard this week was he said, in my kitchen, I call everybody chefs because we are all chefs. And then he said, if you call something a thing long enough, you will become that thing. And so, for my young creatives that are coming up, or just for anybody, if you are new, you could be 50 years old, but you could be just now trying to write a book, or just now trying to paint your first picture. When somebody asks you, what do you do? Name yourself. I have been recently, whenever I introduce myself to somebody or somebody asks me what do I do for a living, I would say I'm a project accountant, but I identify as a writer because I am a writer. I may make a living, I may get checked and I may get paid for being this accountant, but in my heart, who I identify and who I see myself is a writer. And if I keep calling myself a writer and if I keep showing up as a writer, if I keep showing up as a healer, whatever that thing is, eventually I will become it. And so my thing is to you, if you are a chef or if you are somebody, I mean, if you want to get into content creator, stop saying your day job. Say what you want yourself to be. So if you want to be a content creator, start introducing yourself that way. If you start introducing yourself that way, and maybe eventually the world will see you that way. Last but thing but not least, Richard told us never ever let a machine stop you from doing your jobs. We are living in this type of society and world right now where there is literally their AI, they're literally a machine to do anything. And I feel like sometimes we can get very reliant upon that. But we have to understand that when these machines shut down, or when there is no power, or say if you want to write a book but you don't have a laptop, if you let that lack of a laptop stop you from writing your book, maybe you really don't have want to write that book that bad. If you don't have a camera and you're not using your phone, or if you stop not having a camera, not having the right software stop you from trying to shoot content, then maybe you don't want to do it that bad. The whole thing is you use what you have until you have something more. And so my advice to you is don't allow a machine to do your job. If you don't have the laptop that you need right now, go get you pen and paper. Write it down, write it longhand. Personally, it's actually better that way. If you are trying to be a writer, that's actually how that's my process. I write longhand and then I type everything up. It's just something about that hand mind connection that it cannot be explained. It cannot be explained. And then also, like for our creatives, if you don't have a camera, I know about me, I want to really get into content creation and I don't have a camera, but guess what? I'm videotaping everything. I'm learning to use CapCut. I'm putting shit in Instagram. It's like, do not let a machine stop you from doing your job. If you really want it, you will figure it out. So this week, I just challenge you, instead of saying what you don't have, I want you to look at what you do have and use the best of that to get what you want out of life. Mentor beef. So this week we have a big development. We actually have a big development in mentor beef. So this week, as Team Arrington and Team Blaze is down there duking it out, Gordon Ramsay asked he is talking to Austin and Megan and basically saying, hey, y'all know I had y'all in my reaches, I was about to have y'all on my team, y'all. I really wanted to pick y'all. If I ain't have all these young guns, I would have picked y'all. And he like, if you want to come to my team, he is trying to poach members, y'all. He's trying to poach members. And honestly, he probably is saying the wrong too. He should have been talking to Brandon. But Austin is so up Blaze ass. Like he really, really want to be a Blaze. And then Megan said that I'm gonna dance with who bought me. And I just thought that was just so cute that Gordon is trying to see, try to steal team members. It was so before they even started cooking. Naisha and Richard had asked him like, "When is the last time you made a dessert?" It was like back in the '90s. Like it was just such a fun episode. I really love this episode, and I do hope that they make the menu a challenge that we keep coming back to every season because it was just so fun to get to see the judges, the contestants working together. Like the energy was just unmatched. Like it was just such a great episode. Predictions. I mean, y'all, I really have to say that if Beatrice wins one more week, or if Gordon Ramsay one more week, Beatrice gonna win it all because her confidence is just so strong right now, and I really do believe that regardless of the cooking, regardless of all that good stuff, this is a competition about will and wits and your attitude. And if Beatrice get one more under her belt, she's out of here. But I am rooting for Ryan because I know Ryan is looking at her like, bitch, this supposed to be, like I'm supposed to be the one that's winning this. So I am rooting for Beatrice. I do feel like Becca, if Becca does not have a knockout dish this time around, Becca's gonna be at the bottom. Um, and that's all I have right now. I am what did I tell y'all? Richard only had one weak link on his team, and now his weak link is gone. And so I'm really expecting Team Blaze to take out that win, take down Team Gordon, and get to that top level position. So that is my biggest prediction for next week. All right, next episode. I will see y'all again next week. Next level Tuesday, 12 o'clock. I'm gonna try to be on time. If not, if I'm not on here at 12 o'clock, I will be on here at 12:30. Remember, guys, if you are interested in knowing more about me, check me out at www.honestlysis.com. This spring and summer, I'm really about to start getting into these live. I'm really about to start eventually. I want to say at the end of this month, I'm going to start the How to Survive the End of the World series. I may even kick off another review of TV shows, not on the Honestly Sis channels, but on my Dear Showrunners channel. But if you want to keep up with it and know about me, make sure you're checking Honestly Sis, www.honestlysis.com. Keeping up with Am at the bottom of that front page will give you all of that information and lives to come in the future. All right, y'all. Until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never let anyone tell you what you cannot do. Thank you so much for helping my dreams come true. Now get out there and work on your own. Meet you at the top, friends. Bye bye. 43 minutes.